Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that, and also apologies if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it can't be helped, and hopefully it isn't much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2024 related video here on my channel, and another installment in my sporadic series titled What We Know So Far, where I go through pretty much everything we as Eurovision fans know so far about the upcoming edition of the ESC, which this year will take place for a third time in Malmö, Sweden this May. As always, you're welcome to let me know your thoughts regarding anything I discuss in this video by leaving a comment down below, and as always there are links in the description to my other social media pages, check them out if you so wish. So I have some information in front of me to make sure I don't forget anything too important. I'm really not going to go through all of the basics again, because what's the point? We're all aware of the basics to do with this year's competition. We know where it's taking place and the venue it's taking place in. We know the dates of the contest. We know the presenters of the contest. We know how many countries are taking part, although that could still change. We know that Luxembourg are returning for the first time since 1993. We know that Romania are involved. We are aware of the allocation draw because that took place ages ago, so we know in which semi-final the semi-finalists are taking part in, and which half of each semi-final the semi-finalists are taking part in, and we also know in which semi-final the automatic finalists will be voted into, alongside the aggregated rest of the world vote. So, without further ado, let's just go through it, beginning with the first country that I can see in front of me, alphabetically in the first half of the first semi-final of this year's ESC, which will take place on Tuesday the 7th of May, and it is Croatia, and this is the favourite to win as I talk to you right now. Unbelievable scenes. It's Rim Tim Tagidim by Baby Lasagna, real name Marko Purisic, who had been involved in Croatia's national final before several years ago as part of a rock group. This time, going solo. He wasn't even on the original list of participants for this national selection, but somebody else withdrew, he stepped in, the song was well liked, and he won Dora on February the 25th by an absolutely crushing margin. There were two semi-finals, 12 songs each, 8 progressed. In the final, obviously it was the top 16, there was a jury vote made up of regional Croatian juries and various European nations seemingly picked at random. The only country not to give Baby Lasagna anything in the jury vote was Italy. So there you go, they were watching a different show, clearly. But he did top the jury vote, 74 points. In the public half of the results, he was so far ahead of anybody else, it was an absolute landslide, you know. 247 points. In second place with the public was Alan Duras with a Tamburitsa Lullaby, and that had 27. So that just shows you the sheer margin of victory. 321 points in all. Second was Vinko, and third was last year's Croatian representatives in Liverpool, Let 3. It's a great song. I really like it. I'm sort of saving my thoughts more for future videos, but I have said this before and I'll say it again. Since the semi-final format was introduced 20 years ago in Istanbul, Croatia has been a personal qualifier for me once. Once in 20 years. Absolutely dreadful. And yet this year, Croatia could be my personal winner. Talk about a glow-up for the ages. Remarkable. And there has been talk in Croatia now about the selection committee. How could they ignore this song at first? What were they listening to? Etc, etc. I'm not sure how you can blank a song like this either. But what's happened has happened. He is going to Eurovision. As for Cyprus, we finally have the song. It is Liar by Silia Kapsis. It was released on February 29th, co-written by Dimitris Kontopoulos, who is a very notable songwriter, been at Eurovision many times. He co-wrote Shady Lady, second place. Co-wrote Hold Me, second place. Co-wrote You Are the Only One, third place. Co-wrote Scream, third place. Work Your Magic, sixth place. This Is Our Night, seventh place. Shine, seventh place. Last Dance for Stefania for Greece a few years ago, 10th place, and a few others. This man has a pretty damn good track record when it comes to writing Eurovision songs. Cilia is 17, born in December 2006, from Sydney, worked in America, worked plenty of times in her homeland, nominated for a Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award last year. The song is what we've come to expect from Cyprus now pretty much every year. It is a pop bop, it's nothing groundbreaking, nothing truly original. Is it fresh sounding? I wouldn't even go that far, but I liked it when I first heard it. My reactions on this channel, you may well have seen it. Do I expect it to qualify? At this moment in time, I'd say yes. Do I expect it to do well in the final if it gets there? Maybe mid-table mediocrity. It's not a bad song, but we have sort of heard this thing many times before. As for Ireland, Bambi Thug with Doomsday Blue. We've known about this for a long time. January the 26th was the date of the final of Eurosong 2024. 6 songs were involved. Bambi Thug was 3rd with the international jury and topped the national jury and public vote, ahead of Next in Line and Ailsha with Go to Ban. This song was very popular, and I think it still very much is, but I think the momentum has very much shifted onto other countries now, and I don't know, the live performance at the national final, it wasn't bad, but I didn't love it. But then I was thinking ahead to Eurovision, and I thought to myself, of course it's going to be so much stronger when it's on stage in Malmö. I like them, I like their aesthetic, I like the fact that this is taking a risk. I think that it's so different from anything we've had from Ireland in the past. Indeed, pretty much completely different from anything any country's ever sent or had in any national final, you know. This is very, very standout in terms of its sound. It's gothic, it's dark, it's electro at times, it's slightly aggressive at other times. I don't really know how to describe it, but there's no doubt about it. There is an audience for this type of thing. But as the weeks have gone by, the less and less I've seen people talk about this track, maybe because it's been so long since it came out. The videos I've watched on YouTube, which are not a great indicator at all as to what will happen in May, but most people have ranked this very low down. I've seen nobody rank this really very high at all, I'll be honest with you. But then again, I haven't watched every video. For me, I haven't ranked the songs this year properly at all, but I have to say I don't think it will be too high in my ranking either. It's a good effort though, and it's definitely going to stand out. And people who tune into Eurovision just for the hell of it every year, they might be really surprised if something like this comes their way, which of course will come their way on Tuesday the 7th of May. This is, I suppose, a surprising Eurovision entry, if that's the right way of describing it. You don't really expect this sort of thing at the contest, I suppose. I don't know. If the audience for this track happen to be tuning in on that Tuesday evening, this could go through. As of right now, though, tough lineup. I think it might be another NQ for Ireland. And I'm concerned about that because they might just go back to playing it ultra safe next year. I don't know. As for Lithuania, loads of people are loving this one. It's Look Telk by Sylvester Belt. Formerly tried to represent his country at Junior Eurovision, was on Lithuania's X Factor a few years ago as well. He's released a couple of singles, but this is by far his biggest track to date. It's very, very well liked. He's 26 from Kaunas. He won the Lithuanian selection Eurovision.lt, the final of which was on February the 17th. In the first round of voting, it was actually won by Shower with Impossible. Okay, that's completely random. And then in the super final, he won by about 14,000 votes. And what a relief, because had Impossible gone to Eurovision instead, well, let's just say I don't think many people would be ranking Lithuania too highly at all. The Roop were 3rd, VB Gang were 4th, etc, etc. I wasn't terribly impressed with the Lithuanian selection, I'll be honest. I thought it was pretty disappointing and underwhelming. This song, I like it, but I don't love it nearly as much as other people. We move on to Poland, internal selection, more controversy, because it was only a small panel who selected the representative, and it was by a 1-point margin ahead of the 1995 representative, Justina. But it is Luna with The Tower. Luna, whose real name is Alexandra Wielgomash, is 24, and she's been making music for a number of years. She's released one album, which came out in 2022, and one EP. She is inspired by Nick Cave and Björk, although this song doesn't really sound like anything those two musicians have ever released. This song is also co-written by Paul Dixon, who is an English singer-songwriter and guitarist. How about that? I would say that this song has had a fairly lukewarm response. I certainly don't mind it. It's got a bit of momentum to it. It's reasonably catchy. I like the music video. But as I said, she only won this internal selection process by 1 point. And as soon as these results were announced, I think there was some controversy again, but what's done is done. We move on. As for Serbia, their national final, Pesma za Eurovision 24, took place just a few days ago. At the time of recording this video you're watching now, there were 2 semi-finals. I'm just loading it up here. I didn't really follow either show. Both semi-finals had 14 songs involved. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 progressed. Semi-final 1 was won by Breskvica, with Nesto Orlovo, won very comfortably. And then in semi-final 2, Teodora won, also very comfortably. In the final, Teodora was crowned champion. She won the jury vote by a very narrow margin and was a somewhat distant second behind Breskvica in the public vote. But 22 points was enough. Zoria was third. Constractor, the 2022 representative, was fourth, and Zena was fifth. This is a breath of fresh air. Teodora, whose real name is Teodora Pavlovska, she's 31. This is a really lovely track. She's had success on TikTok. She's had a lot of streams on Spotify, and she's also collaborated / worked alongside as a composer many other Serbian musicians. She actually co-wrote Filari's track in last year's Serbian selection. Co-wrote it or wrote it herself. Not entirely sure, doesn't really matter. Anyway, this song, yes, it's quite gloomy, but not in a bad way. It builds up quite nicely, it's quite powerful, it's quite atmospheric, I think that's the right word to use. Really very nice. I'm going to listen to it again in full very soon, and this could do very well, absolutely. As for Ukraine, still big contenders to win as far as I'm concerned. February the 4th saw the final of Vidbir, which was won by an absolutely crushing margin by the favourites all along, Aliona and Jerry Hale, with Teresa and Maria. Second with the jury, the winner by several 100,000 votes with the public, 21 points in all. They are the duo representing Ukraine this year. It's a really lovely track. Again, there's this sort of dark tone to it at times, but it also feels uplifting at other times. It's an interesting juxtaposition. Anyway, this I absolutely think could win. I really do. Certainly the top 6 again for Ukraine. I'd be surprised if not. I know that we don't have all of the songs yet, but this is Ukraine. They always qualify. They always do fairly well. So I think a very impressive result is coming. Maybe it's not the winner, but like I said, the top 6 is very likely, I would say. In the second half, we have Australia. We're getting the act and the song, I believe, on March the 6th. And the rumour mill has been going into overdrive a little bit lately. It now looks like it is going to be Electric Fields, who were the runners-up in the Australian selection a few years ago. As for Azerbaijan, surely we're getting news soon. There was a shortlisted batch of artists ages ago, and it seems as though it's between Aysel and a trio of musicians. So we'll have to wait and see. I think both of those songs are out. Somebody was sharing them on social media anyway. Aysel's song, which is the likely winner, it's called Game of Chess, and she, of course, narrowly missed out on qualifying from the first semi-final in Lisbon in 2018, so she could be coming back. As for Finland, oh dear. Uden Musiikin Kilpailu was on February the 10th. It was won by Windows 95 man, who doesn't really do much in this song at all. It's the other chap who does most of the singing. With no rules, last with the jury, won with the public, and that was enough. Sort of making a mockery of the jury vote, to be honest. I think next year that needs to change ever so slightly. 313 points in all. Second place went to Sara Sipola, and third place went to Mikhail Gabriel and Nublu. I don't hate this song, but I just find it such a downgrade. And some people think this might not even qualify. I think in a 100% public semi-final, it's going through, but in the final, the juries will crucify it. It's just a bit too cringeworthy for me. I don't know what it is. We move on. Luxembourg. Oh, I missed out Iceland. We'll talk about them in a moment, because what a shite show that has turned out to be. Luxembourg are represented by Tally with Fighter. And this is not a bad song, but I think out of all the pop songs we've got this year, this one feels very vanilla. Tally is 23 years of age, apparently, born in November 2000. She studied in America. She has described her music as pop, indie and R&B, and she's inspired by Lady Gaga. She won the Luxembourg selection in the super final by a fairly close margin ahead of Crick and Joel Marquez Cunha. There was an international jury vote as well in the first round of voting. And in the second round? Yes, and in the second round by the looks of it. Disappointing that so many of the songwriters seem to be from here, there and everywhere. Some of these tracks involved probably were rejected MGP or Melfest songs for all we know. But anyway, it is Tally, it is Fighter, I'm not sure it's going through. As for Moldova, it's a returning name, Natalia Barbu. She won Etapa Națională on February the 17th. She tied for first place with Valeria Pasha, who had Anti-Princess, but because the jury vote seemingly took precedence, it's Natalia Barbu going to Eurovision instead, and there was controversy here. Valeria Pasha won the public vote quite convincingly, but it says here the Moldovan broadcaster stated that over 950 votes for Valeria were sent from invalid phone numbers, and that additional votes were sent from 48 different countries, likely using VPNs, so that could be an inflated score. I don't believe it's said in the rules whether the jury took precedence or not, but when it came down to it, the jury took precedence. And Natalia Barbu, who represented her country in Helsinki in 2007, she's 44 now, and she made the top 10 in that contest as well, I believe. It's not a bad song, but it is one of the contenders to finish last in this semi-final. As for Portugal, the final of FDC is on March the 9th, so it's coming up soon. We've had both semi-finals, 10 songs in each show, 5 going through, and then a 6th from a second round of public-only voting, because there is a jury as well. No real surprises. Bispo missing out from semi-final 1, perhaps a bit of a shock. My favourite is Criatura by Rita Onofre, but I don't think she's winning. It is Iolanda's To Lose, and that is just a beautiful, beautiful song, beautifully staged. I'm all over that one. If that goes to Eurovision, mwah, 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 that could be really, really fantastic stuff. As for Slovenia, internal selection, Raven, who had been involved in the national selection for Slovenia several times in the past. The song's called Veronica. It's written by a whole bunch of people, including Bojan from Joker Out. I'm surprised this song isn't more liked by the community. Most people have this in the middle of their ranking. It's quite dramatic. There's the potential for very interesting staging, perhaps recreating the music video a little bit, I don't know. I see this as a qualifier, maybe not a super safe qualifier, but I do expect Slovenia to go through. As for Iceland, like I said a few minutes ago, what a shite show this has turned out to be. Who would believe it? Well, maybe we all saw it coming. Songvakeppnin, the final of which took place on March the 2nd, 2 semi-finals, 5 songs each, 2 progressing from each show alongside a wild card, that was Sigga Öst from semi-final 2, also known as Go Tiffany. In the final, there was a jury vote. The jury made up completely of Icelanders rather than an international jury this time, and a public vote. Those votes combined in the super final. It was Hera Björk, the 2010 representative, up against Bashar Murad, and would you believe it, Hera Björk came out on top. There has been huge controversy here. Apparently votes weren't going through for Wild West. I mean, what a surprise. It's this national final where the controversy is rife. Is anything going to change? I don't know. I mean, it really could change. It really could change. But it's got to happen really fast. It's got to happen really fast, because time is pretty thin on the ground now before all of the songs have to be confirmed to the EBU. If the result is overturned, who knows? Hera Björk has pretty much said herself she would go to Eurovision if she won, and she did win. So we just have to wait and see how this all plays out. But there's so much controversy, and oh, what a load of rubbish. Hera Björk, though, I think she's the oldest singer in this year's contest. If she goes, she's 51. Certainly one of the oldest. 4 albums, multiple singles, and of course she had Je ne sais quoi in the 2010 contest. We move on to semi-final 2 on Thursday the 9th of May. Albania, we've known about this for ages. FIC took place just before Christmas last year. It's Zemrendor by Besa, who was the public's choice in Albania to go to Eurovision, but not the winner of the festival as a whole. It's not a bad song. I don't love it. We are getting a revamp soon. Armenia, we know diddly squat. There has been a rumoured name or two. It could be Malena, the former junior Eurovision winner. We'll find out within the next 2 weeks. Austria, the song is out. The music video is coming out very soon as well. I've reacted to it. It is Kalin, real name Marie-Sophie, 29. She's been involved with Eurovision plenty of times as a choreographer, a dancer, creative director, stage director. She helped Taya and Selena for Austria last year. Who the hell is Edgar? She's released 1 album. The song is perhaps a rejected Melfest track. Thoroughly disappointing that it's written by a Scandinavian team. It is a pulsating 90s Eurodance type track. Loads of people are loving it. If you ask me, it'll be in the final, but it also has enormous potential to flop live. We'll wait and see what happens. Czechia, Their national final also took place in December the 13th. Pedestal by Aiko was the winner, perhaps a little surprisingly so because you had Red Flag Parade there as well, and the Angels Share, people like that one. She won with 23,898 votes. It's a bit of a rock song, I guess. It's going in that sort of territory. I don't mind it, not sure it's going to qualify. Aiko is 24, born in Moscow. As for Denmark, DMGP, the blandest of blandest national finals imaginable in the eyes and ears of many, took place on February the 17th. The winner was Sand, performed by Saba, co-written by Melanie Weber, being involved with Melfest a few times. In the super final, she was third of 3 acts with the public, but the winner with the jury, and that saw her over the line, beating out Basim and Janus Weiberg. The song's pretty good, it's fairly uplifting. I don't think much needs to change from the national final performance to Eurovision. Could get Denmark back in the final for the first time since 2019. As for Greece, the song's coming soon. It's written by about 500 people. Marina Sati is the 37-year-old singer from Athens who's going to be front and centre. Born in Greece to a Sudanese Arab father and a Greek mother from Crete, she's studied classical piano, vocal training, architecture she studied for a bit as well. She was at the Berklee College of Music in Boston, where somebody else also studied. Who else studied at the Berklee College of Music? Somebody, I think Tally studied there, the Luxembourg representative. And somebody else. I swear they did. How very interesting. Maybe I'm talking a load of rubbish here. Anyway, Marina Sati, I've got very high hopes for this. She's a very striking performer. It's been ages since I listened to some of her previous material, but what I heard I didn't mind. And even if you're not a lover of the music, you can still appreciate what an artist is trying to achieve. And that might be the case this year for me and the Greek track. I don't really know. She's worked with the National Theatre of Greece, the National Opera, the Athens Festival, 1 album to date, multiple singles, millions of views online. The song is apparently called Zari. As for Malta, well, their long national final finally concluded on February the 3rd. Sera Bonici came out on top. There were all of these semi-finals. Semi-final 3, nobody even qualified. What a load of rubbish. Anyway, Sera Bonici with Loop. She won the jury vote, second with the public, top overall. This is a fairly slick pop song. It's not really doing anything, again, groundbreaking or original. She's 25. She's the daughter of a CEO, and she has a master's degree in accounting. She's competed in various festivals and has tried to represent her country at Junior Eurovision, and I believe she was on stage with Nicole Atsopardi in the 2010 Junior Eurovision. Many singles. She's going to Eurovision, and hopefully it's a pretty good performance. As for Switzerland, this is a contender to win. It's Nemo, or Nemo, not entirely sure, with the code. This is a non-binary musician, 24 years of age, released 3 albums, had a few hits in 2017, 2018, but not so much since. This song is great. It's blending so many different genres. It was an internal selection. There's rap, there's opera, there's pop, there's a more ballad-like moment. It's a great effort, very daring, but it might just pay off. In the second half of semi-final 2, it's Musty with Before the Party's Over. He was announced ages ago. He's 33 from Brussels, 2 albums, had quite a bit of success in his homeland. This song is fantastic. Before the Party's Over builds up nicely. There's this choir at the end, which I think is made up of Eurovision fans. The music video is pretty dramatic as well. This could be a jury darling in the final, and hopefully the public love it too. Estonia, Vis Minus, I hope I'm saying that right. I think so, yes. Means 5 minutes. And Pulup are representing Estonia this year with Nendes Narkutikumides de Teamakulmidagi. And this song won Eesti Laul on February the 17th, somewhat convincingly. There was a semi-final, 15 tracks, 3 went through, and then 2 in a sole public runoff vote. In the final, Oli, the track I've just mentioned, and Nelilis Vaiksu made the top 3, and in the end, by a margin of about 14,000 votes, it was the song with the very long title that came out on top. Again, a bit risky, a bit daring. It's the first time we're hearing Estonian for ages. I like it. I think a lot of neutral viewers will like it. It's not winning, but it could do very well. As for Georgia, it's Nutsa Buzaladze, who was the runner-up in the national selection a few years ago. She's lived in LA and Dubai. I think she lives there now. She grew up in Turkey. She's 27 from Tbilisi. She was on the 21st season of American Idol last year and made the top 12. She's released 1 EP, loads of singles. White Horses Run, a pretty decent effort, was her song in the Georgian national final a few years ago. I have extremely high hopes for her track. I think she's got a big team behind her. We'll see what happens. As for Israel, very briefly, it's Eden Golan, The song's being released apparently on March the 10th. Whether we get it or not, I don't know. She's 20. She's released various singles. I think she has quite the social media following, but don't quote me on that. She came through Hakok Haba, which is this sort of reality singing competition type of thing in Israel. And she was announced as the winner on my birthday, actually, February the 6th. Whether Israel take part or not remains to be seen. There's controversy galore. We move swiftly on. My God. As for Latvia, it's Dons. Big star with Hollow. Has tried to represent his country in the past. He is 39. There's a big Wikipedia article all about him. He is probably Latvia's biggest male singer. Loads of albums, including one that's out this August, apparently. Hollow is a fine ballad. It's perhaps the most serious Latvian entry for a number of years, maybe. Still might not get them into the final. He won Supernova on February the 10th, ahead of Vestules, 16-year-old duo, I believe. That was a nice song. And the Cats song, which finished third, Heavens Above. Anyway, I wish Latvia well, because it's a decent showing. As for the Netherlands, this could be a winner. The momentum is there. Joost Klein, big star over in his homeland. He is 26 from Leeuwarden. He's released so many albums, it's ridiculous, including one last year that charted at number 2. Multiple singles. Europapa is the name of his song. There is a serious message to this. It's worth people looking up the lyrics. It's a fun music video, not that the music video matters much. And it's very catchy, it's quite funny, but also serious at the same time, you know. Again, nice juxtaposition. This could do exceptionally well in the final with the public, maybe not so well with the juries. I don't see it as a winner, but I can see a top 10 finish likely. It's good stuff. I liked it more than I thought I would. Absolutely. As for Norway, it's Gorta with Ulveham. They've been a band for many years, since the turn of the century. Gorta means riddle, and Ulveham means wolf's cry. Wolf pelt, it says here, actually. That's changed. But anyway, doesn't really matter. This is a great song, female lead vocals, multiple albums, including one in 2021, which is their most recent record. This is fantastic. They won MGP, and they were the favourites to do so, on February the 3rd, ahead of Kano, who were trying to go back to Eurovision, having won the public vote successfully in 2019, and Super Robin Erica Norwich, who finished third with My AI. This is a great song, could be my winner of the year. As for San Marino, it's a Spanish group with a song that I believe Spain rejected for Benidorm Fest. It's Megara, who are from Madrid. They've been making music since 2015. Again, female lead vocals here. A couple of albums, several EPs. The song is called 1111. I didn't really follow San Marino's selection because it went on for so long. The final was on February the 24th. Loredana Berti, who was involved in Sanremo in Italy with Pazza, she finished second, and La Rua with Governo del Cuore finished third. You also have the singer Amy Atkinson, best known for appearing in the musical Six, and you also have The Last Polar Bear by Dana Gillespie, who's appeared in so many theatre productions, and I believe that was the AI-produced song. Not only that, you had Jalis, the Italian 1997 representatives. They finished 10th. Very interesting. It will be interesting to see if San Marino finish above Spain this year. As for the finalists, France, could they do it? The momentum is still there, I would say. Slimane, big star, with Mon Amour, My Love. He's 34, released multiple albums. They've all charted within the top 2. He's had success in Belgium and Switzerland too. Many singles. This song is a big old ballad. He performs the hell out of it. It could do really well with the juries. As for Germany, smell that last place, because I hate to be rude, but would you be surprised if this finished last? It's Isaac with Always on the Run. He is 29 from a place called Minden. He was on a show called Show Your Talent in 2021 and was on the German version of the X Factor in 2011. He has had a top 10 hit in Germany by the looks of it. Baby Sleeps. Single trending chart. Oh, I don't know what that means. Anyway, he won Das Deutsche Finale against Mats Mutzke, the 04 representative who finished second, and Oh Boy by Rick, which finished third. There was a jury vote, phone vote, SMS, online, all of that, and he won by about 3,000 points in the end. 3,000 votes, I should say. Yeah, he wasn't my favourite, he was my third favourite. It's not a bad song, but it's not going to stand out much. As for Italy, well. It's Angelina Mango, whose mother and father were at Sanremo once upon a time. The song is called La Noia, which means boredom, I believe. She won the press jury rank in the super final, and the radio jury rank, was second in the televote rank behind Jolier, who had 60% of the score. My God. Quite extraordinary. Of course, Sanremo's a huge deal. It's not strictly speaking a national final, but I think the ESC call it one themselves. Anyway, there were so many great songs. Once again, in the Italian selection, Annalisa, she was there, finished third. Irama, Mahmoud, trying again, because why not? Il Volo, Alessandro Amoroso, Emma again, Diodato again, The Colours again, and that music video had Blanca in it for some reason. Francesco Renga and Neck, pretty big stars there. Anyway, like I said, Angelina Mango came out on top. This is great stuff. She is a rising star, 22 from a place called Maratea. This song has fared well with Eurovision fans all over Europe, and she's released 2 EPs, including Voglia di Vivere last year, maybe a debut album that's coming soon as well. She's fantastic. Yes, her mother was the lead singer of the group Mattia Bazzar, who were at Sanremo in the 90s, but I'm not sure she was the lead singer when they won Sanremo, because they did win Sanremo, did they not? Yes, twice, 1978 and 2002. Laura Valente is the name of her mother, and then her father was Mango, Giuseppe Mango. He passed away at the age of 60 in 2014. I swear blind he was in Sanremo as well, and he worked with many, many other musicians. Yes, he did. Big star. So maybe it was written in the stars that she would represent Italy at some point. As for Spain, I've never really liked this song, not sure I ever will. It's Nebulosa with Thorra, which means whore, I think. They're from a place called Ondara. It's a duo. They've been married for over 20 years and have 2 children. This song, very popular. They've released many singles before this. They won Benidorm Fest ahead of Angie Fernandez and Saint Pedro and Jorge Gonzalez. They won the expert jury vote. Well, it was a tie with Saint Pedro. They were third with the demoscopic jury and won the public vote, so 156 points in total. It definitely gives off a different vibe. It's going to be quite refreshing having this in the grand final, but I just don't love it personally. As for Sweden, the final of Melfest is this weekend. Might do a live reaction to the results. It's M&M to lose, Marcus and Martinus, the Norwegian brothers. They're 7th in the running order. You've got Danny Saucedo with the most basic song I think I've heard for many a year. Jacqueline, this rising star, looks like a pop star on that stage. Liamu, pretty bang average. Medina, almost the same as last year. Dotter, not quite her best. Annika Vicky Halder, can't see her doing that well. Katsiopeia, nice. Not sure older viewers will really go big for it though. Smash Into Pieces, not as good as last year, but still good. Lisa Ajax, not her best, but I like her in the song. Jay Smith, not bad, pretty bang average though in all honesty. And Maria Sur, who I'm tempted to say is my favourite here, but she's on first and she didn't even win her own heat. So we'll wait and see what happens with Sweden, but mark my words, if M&M go, that performance, my God, I have seen it, as I have with all of the performances now in this year's Melfest, that could really eat up the jury vote at this year's ESC. It really could. Remember Benjamin Ingrosso? He had a light-up podium thing. M&M have got a light-up corridor. I mean, the jury votes will pour in. As for the UK, Ollie Alexander, from Harrogate, but didn't even know Harrogate hosted Eurovision. He's 33, part of Years and Years. They had big success. Nominated for Brit Awards, toured all over Europe. He's also a BAFTA-nominated actor. The song is called Dizzy. I don't love it. I made a video reacting to the song. I don't love it. The chorus for me is lacking oomph, but it's far from poor, and maybe it will grow on me. He's performing it live on TV this weekend, I believe, and he'll be performing it live on TV more moving forwards, I'm sure. Hopefully he'll do well. I'm expecting a pretty decent jury mark, but a pretty disappointing public mark in the final. But we're only in March. Things can change. Croatia are the favourites. Anyway, I'm now going to shut up. My voice is killing me. My throat is killing me. What a shambles. Let me know your thoughts. And this might be the last What We Know So Far video, because the next time that I would be filming one of these, in about 2.5 weeks' time, we'll probably know all of the songs by then. So it will be time to make predictions for the running orders, and this, that and the other, maybe predictions for the results. Keep an eye on the community tab I have here on YouTube, and my other social media pages. I'm actually barely using Twitter at the moment. I was barely using it anyway, but I'm definitely barely using it now because it is an absolute cesspit of shite. By Christ, don't even get me started. What an absolute shambles. I'm now going to shut up. More videos will be coming soon. I'll probably be back for the Georgian song reaction. Maybe. We'll see. Whatever happens first, I'll be here for it. And hopefully you will be too. I never really talk about subscriber numbers, but I'm nearing 900. It's nice to see that number go up. I thank you all. Until next time, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and bye for now.